Hi you guys, today I'm going to be making another opinion video. So if you did not like my last opinion video, or if you don't like these videos, then I would just click off now, because I'm going to be making a video all about how I feel on stalls. So I haven't thought too much about this video before I'm making it, but I just want to put a disclaimer out there before I say anything else that if you have a different opinion than me, I totally respect that. That is totally fine. I can't judge you for a certain opinion that you have, and I hope you don't judge me or anyone else on my channel for opinions they have either. This is really just for education and for spreading awareness in the equine world, so if you disagree with this video, that is totally fine. So when I think about stalls, you know, I know people that stall their horses. I know horses that have been stalled. I have stalled my own horses, and I feel like everybody can say that they have stalled a horse at least one point in their life. Stalls can be very handy when you need them, you know, the day before a show, if your horse is injured, about to have a foal. You know, they can be very useful, but I feel like very often in the horse world and in the equine world, they are misused and used in the wrong way a lot. Now, if you know anything about horse and herd behavior, you will know where I'm coming from in this video. If you don't know a lot about herd behavior, go watch Rick Gore at Think Like a Horse here on YouTube. He has tons of great videos about it. But horses are herd animals, right? We all pretty much know that. In the wild, in a horse's completely natural environment, horses live in herds. There are herds of wild horses. You know, you don't often find just like one wild horse out alone by itself. That's not very common. So horses are herd animals, just like most animals on the planet. Dogs live in packs. Fish swim in schools. Whales, they live in pods. You know, cats, even cats. Like if you have one cat outside by yourself, it's most likely going to run off to find other cats, or roam the city or the town or the country throughout the day to find other cats. Us humans, we are social people. We have children all the time. We're constantly on our phones because we're social animals. We like communication with others of our kind. Horses are the same way. Horses are herd animals. They find safety living with other horses. Now, if you know anything about horse health, horses' bodies are made and designed to slowly graze throughout the day. Eating little amounts here and there all throughout the day is best for a horse's digestive system to keep going, keep moist, keep flowing throughout the day. That's what a horse is designed to do. In stalls, your horse can't do that. Unless you have somebody that's constantly feeding your horse throughout the day, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, horses are fed twice a day when they live in stalls, which it's not gonna kill them, obviously. I feed my horses twice a day in the winter time, but it's not the best for them, and hay is a very dry forage, and horses' gut and their digestive system needs to be moist and keep flowing. Horses can develop what's called colic. I'm sure all of you guys know what colic is, but a lot of times that comes from eating very dry food. If your horse is hydrated, then it's not as big of a deal, but it's just not as good for your horse as eating fresh grass and forage in a pasture. Another way that horses are just like us humans is us humans don't like to stay in one spot for hours on end, okay? If we had to stand in the same spot for even just like an hour or two, our joints would start to get stiff, we'd start to get fidgety. Even at school, when we sit in desks all day, you want to get up and move and do something. Horses are designed to do that. Horses are They originated from the wild, where they walk miles and miles a day to find food. They're not meant to just stand around all day. They need to be in a pasture, moving, communicating with other horses. I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot. I've just realized that and it's really annoying me, so I'm sorry. But that's what's best for horses, what's mentally stimulating for horses. If we had to just sit in one spot all day, we would have nothing to do but think. And eventually you would run out of things to think about, right? So sitting in one spot would be agonizing. Try it. Try sitting in that one spot for 4 or 5 hours. If you think horses being in a stall is fine, then try sitting where you're sitting in for 3 or 4 hours with absolutely nothing to do. I've actually heard of horses that are kept in stalls 24/7 and they actually kind of go insane and start walking in circles all day. And there's actually been some cases where horses' hooves have started like go slanted or something from walking in the same direction in their stall all day. But when your horse is pacing in their stall and walking around in circles, that is a key sign that your horse needs to get out of its stall. That is not healthy. That's not normal behavior for horses to do that. When you see horses out in a pasture all together, you're seeing natural herd behavior. Horses that are happy, horses that are relaxed, cool in their surroundings. Horses that sit in stalls, they have absolutely nothing to do, nothing to think about. It is not stimulating for horses. Humans, we need stimulation too. What do we do when we need stimulation? We sleep. Or what is something you love to do? Ride horses. We read, color pictures. I don't know. When we're bored, we find something to do to stimulate ourselves. That's what horses need. They don't have any choice when they're in a stall. When a horse is in a stall, it's in a box and he has no way of getting out. And there's nothing to do for him in there other than walk in circles, pick on the other horse next to him. A lot of horses that are kept in stalls 24/7 will start to get kind of aggressive. One of the barns that I used to work at, there was this horse, this Palomino, and every time I would go in to clean his stall, he would get really aggressive and throw his head, pin his ears back, try biting me, because he is seriously going insane in that stall. He has nothing to do in there. He's stressed out and going crazy. Also, a lot of times I feel bad for those horses because a lot of those owners of those horses don't get their horses out of their stalls unless they're going to ride them. How in the world is that a good life for a horse? You know, a bathroom is a relatively small space. Most bathrooms are pretty small. If you had to sit in there your whole life, just sitting in your bathroom, and you only got to come out when your mother told you to unload the dishwasher or do your homework, your life would suck, okay? Especially if you had to lug 30 pounds on your back all the time. When a horse is stuck in a stall, no stimulation, no herd behavior, he barely gets to move around. Even if your horse has a big stall, you know what? That's not enough space for a horse. Horses need space to run, to move, to interact, to be in nature where they belong. And then you only get them out when you want to ride them, where they have to listen to you, where they're in an arena. No vegetation, no trees or grass or anything that a horse associates with nature is just a really shitty life. And I feel so bad for those horses that have to put up with that. And a lot of people complain their horses, you know, are stiff or they're pulling muscles. Well, when your horse has to stand in a stall 24/7, he doesn't get to move. He doesn't get to stretch his muscles and keep his blood flowing and circulating. He doesn't get to go out to the field and roll around and keep his blood circulating under his skin. He stands. If you stand in one spot for an entire day and then go out and do sprints, yeah, you're probably gonna pull a muscle if you don't stretch and warm up and get your blood moving and your muscles warm. Then I'm sure you guys have heard some videos or some news about some of the barn fires that have happened within the last year. Electrical fires. I know a guy he had a bunch of hay stacked in his barn and his hay caught on fire and burned his entire hay barn down. Stuff like that actually is pretty common, and there's so many horses that die and are burned to death every year because they have nowhere to go. They're stuck in their stall, have no chance of getting out. So if I ever board somewhere, you guarantee I'm not going to be putting my horse in a stall, because if something like that happens, he has no chance. If your horse is in a pasture, even if your horse is not a jumping horse, if you've never taught your horse how to jump, horses know how to jump. Horses are horses. We're humans. I have never ran hurdles in track, but I still know how to jump over a hurdle. Even if your horse you've never jumped your horse has a chance. Your horse knows how to jump a fence. It could attempt. It might get a little stuck, but if there's a barn fire happening, or if there's something bad happening at your barn, your horse has a chance of getting out. When you lock your horse up in a box stall all the time, there's no chance. Your horse is gonna burn to death. And some people say like, oh, my horse communicates with the horse in the stall next to him. People, that is not communication. That is not natural horse behavior, communication, interactions, okay? Your horse is going stir crazy from standing in a stall all day. The horse next to him is probably doing the same thing, and I see horses all the time pick at each other through the stall walls, and there's nothing else for them to do in there. When your horse is in his natural environment, in a field with grass, grazing with other horses, interacting, you know, that's when a horse is happiest, where he's supposed to be, doing things that his brain is designed to do, that he's stimulating. Now, I understand when there's big barns in a boarding facility. Some boarding facilities are like in the middle of big cities, and I understand that you can't control that sometimes, but honestly, if your place is in a big city and there is no turnout whatsoever, then you really need to find a different boarding facility, because it may be close to you, it may be easiest for you to get to, but overall, that shouldn't be more important to you than your horse's quality of life. We force these animals to be ridden, okay? We can try and make it sound nice like we don't force our animals to do anything, but in reality, yeah, we do. We force them to be ridden, we force them to stay in stalls, we force them to do all these things. And if you really can't care that much that your horse is agonizing, stuck in a stall all day with no sense of what real life should be, if you seriously don't care about your horse that much, then you shouldn't have horses. I'm sorry, but you just shouldn't have horses. Move your horse to a place where there's at least a dry lot or something. He can be outside where horses are supposed to be. He can, you know, just be outdoors, enjoy fresh air, interact with other horses. Like I said, that's the most important thing that I can stress about horses being in turnout, is interacting with other horses like they're supposed to when they're happiest. There's also so many more health benefits, like I said earlier, about the gut health, keeping your horse eating all day and grazing like they're designed to. Also just keeping their blood flowing, allowing them to roll. Horses grooming each other is really good. It's great for bonding. And also I've heard from some vets that the urine buildup and the dust from the arena and the hay and the other horses, your horse is breathing that in all the time when they're stuck in a stall, and they really don't have a way to get fresh air. So that's not that good for their respiratory. Walking around in their poop and urine all the time is also not good for their respiratory or their feet. That's a good way to cause thrush in your horses. Even if your horse's stall gets cleaned twice a day or 3 times a day, that's still not a life to live in your own poop and pee all the time. Sorry. Also, I'm sorry about like this going on. I'm sitting in front of a window and the sun is setting, so it's making some. But I don't care what the deal is. If you're having a bad ride on your horse, if your horse hasn't been cooperating, if you don't have the resources or the area, your horse does not deserve to be locked up in a box all the time, okay? No animal deserves to be locked up in a box all the time. Animals in animal shelters, they do not deserve to be locked in those kennels all the time, but they are. Your animal doesn't deserve that, and if you can provide better for your horse, if you have the option to turn them out, then do it. Your horse will thank you and he will be so much happier, and they deserve that much considering all that our horses give us. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, stalls can also be very handy. If you just bathed your white horse and need to keep them in a stall overnight for the show the next day, then your horse will live. They can survive a stall the next day. There's nothing wrong with that. If your horse is injured and can't put weight on their feet or something like that, then, putting them in a stall till they get better is not going to kill them. If a mare is pregnant, it's going to have a foal, that's obviously simple. But for a 24/7 life, that's not a quality life, and horses deserve so much more than that. They're designed for so much more than living in a box. So, maybe this video didn't really hit you that hard, but whenever I think of horses being in stalls all the time, it just makes my heart sink, because I would never want to do that to my animals and make them live that way. But that's just me. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Maybe you learned something you didn't know before, but yeah, if you keep your horse in a stall all the time, please give your horse better. Your horse deserves way more than that. So I guess I will see you guys in my next video. Also, thank you so much for all the positive comments lately. It really makes my day when I read your guys' comments and keeps me motivated to making videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!